The following is a fan-based discussion. All properties discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, and Tsuburaya Productions.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Tokutalk. Today, we will be talking about villains. Specifically generals, yes. Villain generals. And today's will be focused on Super Sentai ones. So I'm going to start with there first. We're going to go... let's talk about first, what makes a good general to you?
When it comes to Sentai, I mean, it does depend on what kind of story you're going for. But
also, what time period?
Yes, but when you say general, I usually think of them as being... It's always like a nice mixture of intimidation and comedy.
Yes!
Sometimes I think that's what you want to go for, because you want a presence that is imposing, something that our team would take seriously as a threat.
Yeah.
But it's also something that our big bad can easily just like trounce if he wanted to.
Yeah.
Like there are like whether it's with a monster, with the team, or with the general. I think in terms of like comedy, I think one of the best recent examples is in Kaiser, where we have our big bad just constantly slamming his fist in rage and disappointment, and just like bouncing Giroud and
Barashitara.
I'm never going to say it right.
Barashitara.
And bouncing them all over the place. The generals from Tokucast definitely come to mind.
Oh yeah.
As in terms of more serious villains, yes, because they like generally when you're talking about generals, that wasn't supposed to be a pun, but
hey, if it works,
it's a sentence, it's a word. When you're talking about generals, usually they don't have a lot of agency of their own, and that's usually one of the I think that's one of the most defining characteristics is they are there to serve whoever is in charge.
Now, for me, I definitely agree with that. However, I think the ones that at least stand out to me the most are the ones who might not have agency at the beginning, but they have ambition.
That's kind of what I was getting at. It's like usually, not always, there are exceptions, of course, but usually it's, I am a subservient being and I'm here to serve my master. And that's what they do, and that's usually what they do, but then you have, whether it's the ones from Tokucast and... well, what's another example you would use? Because I'm drawing a blank, I'm sorry.
Well, in terms of what? Like
Agency and ambition.
Go Busters.
Okay.
Because Enter had a lot of ambition.
Right.
And he actually did what he was supposed to do and usurped the big bad.
That's the thing, because when I think of Go Busters, I think of Enter as the big bad. I don't think of him as a general, but...
yeah, because he was a general at the beginning. And then Messia got killed.
Yeah.
And Enter took over because that was basically his big plan.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that. I like when villains end up having a little bit more, a big one, a huge one, you might say. Ratty Day from Jetman.
Okay.
Who had a lot of ambition and worked with the Jetmen to get the queen killed and then took over. After Transa took over for a little bit, and then he put Transa in a mental institution.
Charming.
Really enough, he was the only one who didn't die at the end of this. Transa survived, more or less, if you call that survival. Yeah, Radiguet had ambition, man. He was just like, everybody gonna die. Giluk from Changeman had ambition as well. Became Super Giluk, and then he tried to fight Unicron. And we all saw what happened when Galvatron tried that. It didn't go well.
He got yeeted and then he got blown up inside of him.
Well, no, Galvatron got powered up and then just lost. That was actually really bad.
Well, I'm talking about the animated movie.
Oh yeah, Galvatron just got powered up. He didn't die in that.
I'm pretty sure Galvatron died.
No, because he was in season 3. I remember because I watch a lot of things on the internet.
I'm sure you do.
But yeah, I just made the Unicron comparison because he was Unicron. Yes, Super Gluck had ambition and got killed for it. But I think it really does depend on the time period what kind of general you're going to get. So
we'll start with Showa.
Yeah.
What kind of general did we get in Showa?
Very for the man.
My man.
Yeah.
As I was saying before, it's very subservient. It's for the man, I think is a good example. It's we are here to serve this higher power,
Yeah.
and that higher power's ambition is to cause chaos, destruction, and mayhem, and just general badness all around. So that's what we do.
Like their ambition was to make sure
Their
master's ambition was.
It is the most. It's Toko at its most black and white in terms of morality. It's I am bad. Bad is good because my master is good. Therefore, I'm good.
I think that was pretty much up until Dynaman, which we haven't seen yet. But that's when the shift started, where we actually started focusing a lot more on story, so people got a lot more to do, including the villains. We got that a little bit in Bioman because he did turn on For the Man at the end of the show before they all got destroyed. But Changeman was like the switch where Ahmes existed, and Guruk and Shima, who tried to get away at the end of the story. So it's just like, that was when the shift like really came into being. But there is a definite having that general really just work under the big bad for however long the show is. That was their whole ambition. That was their goal, to make sure that their master's goal was completed. I want to say a big one. This happens at the shift into Heisei, because it happened at the end of the show, and I'm talking about Live Man.
I was wondering when we were going to get to Live Man, so let's do it.
It always comes up at least once a week on this channel. It really does. You cannot not talk.
We do love that show.
It's true.
It's a great show.
Very good. Outside of Vega Baby, and the T-Rex that happened at the beginning of it. That was trash. But yeah, in that one, it's like the big bad was really
Professor Bias.
Bias-sama
in this case.
Really using
these
people. It's like it's a different type of use for just trying to get to the goal where we take over the world or take over with everything that we're doing. This time, I'm using you to steal your brain and give your intelligence.
I lure you in with the promises of power, which he gives them.
Yeah.
At the cost of essentially at the cost of their humanity, and at the cost of the lives of their friends, and just the general chaos and destruction that is caused as a result of their actions. And check it off your bingo card. That scene of Mazinda running away from Bias, and just the sheer terror she feels of feeling that she's made the wrong decision,
which she knew that she did. So she fully automated her body.
Yes.
To get away.
And just the way the generals, they ultimately are, it is like, I am here to see that, Biasama's goals are accomplished. But by the end, by the time it's too late, they realize they made the wrong choice. And when they try to have their agency of their own, it really just comes down to fight or flight. Mazinda tries to run away. Dr. Kemp fights to the end.
And he does give his brain up.
Yeah.
He turns into a mindless monster at the end of the show. Go got out. Like, he was the one who got out early. Because, Bias considered him a failure. But I'm sitting here, like, at that point, you're really saving yourself without knowing that you're saving yourself, because you got away from everything that Bias was doing. So I love how, especially in retrospect, looking at that, how different that was. I have Die Ranger pulled up.
I noticed.
Got a lot of ambition here on the behalf of Shaddam. Trying to take you over for the 99-2000 from Gorman Emperor the 16th. When he becomes the 16th, but he dies like immediately after, because we still don't know exactly what happened at the end of that show.
Yeah. There were clay dolls. We don't know who made them. We never will.
W did, because clay doll. But as you go along, it seems like they regress a little bit into, we're just going to serve this person. And I appreciated that up to a certain point. And then we get the one where there's no big bad. Deca.
It's just crime.
Crime is the bad.
Crime is the bad, and we are the police.
I like you said, I think it really does, and depending on the show, where it's just what's the goal? Where are we going to go towards? What would work for the generals themselves? Then we get the Deca Ranger. It's just like, there's no big bad. It's just crime. Abba Ranger, we had Abba Killer try to Let's face it, he did take over.
Yeah.
And then he left, and then they killed him off in the last episode.
Yep, that they did.
And then he became Emperor of Hell, so he has a whole bunch of generals now.
He's doing just fine.
He's doing great. But I just love when a general wants. That's the thing. I want them to want something that is separate from the actual big bad guy. So we can have, sort of competing ambitions going on throughout the show as it goes along. I love that. I think it provides a lot more dimension and dynamic to the actual show that's being presented to us, because it's not just for the man the entire time. It's not just for the man the entire time. It's for the me. And I really do like that.
And to bounce off of that, I think there are ways that going forward there are ways they could develop that more, and a lot of it I think could come down to the way they interact with our heroes.
Yeah. And
the way it's like seeing the way they work together. It's like, yes, like the heroes are working together to further their own goal of, just aside from like beat the bad guy, stop the calamity, whatever that may be. But individually, they each they have their own wants and needs.
Yeah.
And if you have good writing, we will get to see those episodes play out. And I would like to see them in the future try and give that to the generals as well.
Yeah.
And whether that's, of their own volition or, through an interaction with another character. And recently, I think, like within the past couple of years, I think a show like outside of Toku that I think did this really well was Castlevania, where we had Dracula, who is our big bad, and then underneath him we have like all the other vampire lords, and the way they were able to use Carmilla and like show her the way like she has her own wants and ambitions, and the way that she recognizes Dracula's flaws as a leader, and I'm going to do what he does but better. And that's something I'd like to see Sentai do.
I would love for them, just to bounce off of that, going forward in the future, would love for them to bring back the factions again, like we had in Bokenger. Because that brings a whole other type of dynamic where they're now working together. If they do work together, they'll
uneasy alliances.
They'll immediately backstab each other. And, then the Ninja Clan, where we had like the bird at the top, and we had the guy under him who was really just gunning for power that entire show. So I really just appreciated what they did with the whole faction thing. I would love if they brought that back again. And I'm a little bit, it does seem like we're actually getting that again this year with Dawn Brothers. So I'm excited to see where that's going to go going forward, where we basically do have 3 different factions: the Dawn Brothers, the Noito, and basically just a general one fighting against each other, because we need somebody to direct them later on. So I really wonder how that's going to go as the show ennues itself along the way. But yeah.
Anything else from generals that we either have or have not seen that you would like to see more of?
I do like when an outsider comes in and becomes a general, because usually they do just want to, I'm going to kill it.
What's an example of that?
Outright Killer.
Okay. Fair enough.
Or Biohunter Silva in some cases.
Okay.
Yeah. So people like that. Or the guy who played Professor Bias was in Dynaman.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. Who, Joji
Nakata, yeah.
Who came in and was general and had his own thing with Blue. Would love a little bit more direct rivalries. I think that's the case that we need several generals to actually have that happen for direct rivalries to really start to spread up. And yeah. But yeah.
Also, I would like to see I would like to see generals conspiring with each other to overthrow the big bad.
Yes, that is then backstab.
No, like if there was no backstab, what if it was just like a really, if we got to see like the bad guys actually have like conspiring against the big bad because like he sucks or whatever, we want to get rid of him and we want to seize power first. Yeah, boo you. Poo-poo-poo-chew on you, whatever.
I don't think you're doing this correctly, so I'm going to do it better.
Pretty much, but I would love to see if we had 2 generals or, more, but I would love it if there were 2 of them, possibly if they were lovers, like, conspiring behind the big bad, and then them usurping him, but they're actually far more effective than the big bad was.
Yeah, I would love.
I would love to see that because like if you had like a power couple dynamic where they are able to play off each other and they know each other's strengths and weaknesses and how to complement them, and they become a much more threatening presence. That is something I would love to see them try.
I would love that actually, especially if you have something where we get the power couple and it's the man who dies first, who gets killed by the heroes. I think that brings in a little bit more of a different dynamic because usually when it's the woman who dies first, the man goes on
and not just like Toku, but like fiction in general. Yeah. It's always like the feminine figure dies. And then the masculine figure is all like, I must seek revenge now for my fallen lover.
Full rampage mode.
And go full rampage mode.
If they flip that.
I would here's a good way I think you could flip it. If you had that and like, so, whether it's man and a woman, two women, two men, whatever you have, if the feminine half is the one who survives and and the show continues on, if the feminine half was the one who was always more unhinged, and the masculine one was always like, no, dear, come on. Like that was the force that kept them in check.
They actually sort of Total Drama. One of the more recent seasons did that.
Did they know?
And the woman was
not a reference I was expecting.
I know. It was like the angry, really strong one, and the man wasn't. Total Drama's good.
I've never watched it, but again, wasn't expecting that as a reference comparison.
It's all on YouTube.
There you go.
All of the seasons, so you can watch them all.
But if that calming presence is eliminated from their lives, and now
they get to go,
now you just have like a full rage mode that's just like unleashed, and suddenly our heroes are faced with like, oh my god, how do we stop this?
They're just like, what is happening?
What happened? I think we messed up somewhere, guys.
I would like to do the equation of how the hell we got here.
We forgot to carry the one.
Oh no, we ended up in Albuquerque. But yeah.
That's something I'd like to see.
I would love for that to happen, actually. But yeah, let us know who are your favorite generals. What would you like to see in the future in Super Sentai? The next one that we'll do on this will be Generals in Rider. I don't think we can really do one for Ultraman and Girl.
Don't have a lot of generals there.
Not really. It's more just monster. But yeah. Don't forget to join us on all the things, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for watching.